Hello everybody, welcome to QuickSave, your quick checkpoint throughout the week for all the video game news. My name is Gold, and let me tell you something. I had what I thought to be all of my story notes ready to go Thursday night. I stayed up late to get it ready, but no. Xbox got jealous of Sony taking the spotlight on Thursday, and they had to go and outdo them on Friday. Plus, I'm a day late, but that's beside the point. Our first story, and I'm really not sure what to use for background footage, so here's a nice picture of Phil to remember him by, because Phil Spencer is retiring. Sarah Bond is resigning. Matt Booty is being promoted to Executive Vice President and Chief Content Officer and will be reporting to the new CEO of Microsoft Gaming, Asha Sharma, who was the president of Microsoft's Core AI product. For time's sake, I'm not going to read the entirety of all the letters. I'm not going to read really a whole lot of any of the letters. But I do recommend going to Microsoft's official blog post and IGN's article for the full letters and for all the details. But I'm just going to sort of pick out a few things that I find interesting. For example, in Phil's letter, he said, quote, "Last fall, I shared with Satya that I was thinking about stepping back and starting the next chapter of my life. From that moment, we aligned on approaching this transition with intention, ensuring stability, and strengthening the foundation we've built," unquote. But the fact that he's going to be retiring, get this, 3 days after the announcement, this Monday, just doesn't seem like the normal way this would be handled. Normally, it's okay in a few months, at the end of this fiscal quarter or something like that. Oh, I'm going to step down. But Monday? On top of that, a few hours before the announcement, Sarah Bond posted on her LinkedIn page about Xbox accessibility features, which just seems sort of odd that you would post anything like that when you're about to resign. Plus, as far as I'm aware, she didn't have a letter published at the same time that Satya Nadella, who's the big guy at Microsoft, Phil, Asha, and Matt Booty did. Like their letters, Sarah ended up having another LinkedIn post directed towards the Xbox team later on, though. But it wasn't included in the official blog post on Microsoft's website that had Satya Nadella, Phil, Asha, and Matt Booty. And I don't really get... it just concerns me that there might be something a little more going on. I hope not. I hope this was all planned out. It just sort of seems weird that it feels very sudden. As for Asha Sharma, which I mentioned she was the president of Microsoft's Core AI product, she says in a part of her letter, "As monetization and AI evolve and influence this future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Games are and always will be art, crafted by humans and created with the most innovative technology provided by us." Which, I appreciate that. It sounds very good. But she ended her letter by saying, "The next 25 years belong to the teams who dare to build something surprising. Something no one else is willing to try and have the patience to see it through. We have done this before, and I am here to help us do it again. I want to return to the renegade spirit that built Xbox in the first place. It will require," and this is the part that concerned me a little bit, "it will require us to relentlessly question everything, revisit processes, protect what works, and be brave enough to change what does not." Hopefully things will do well. It just, I'm hoping she's not just going for, and I know a company has to make money. I know that's the whole point primarily, usually, of a company. But if she's just chasing the dollar signs, then there's one thing that will lead to that, at least according to the higher-ups, and that'll be AI stuff. And I just don't want them to... She said she won't, but then, relentlessly question everything. Be brave enough to change what does not work. I don't know. Only time will tell us how all this will play out, and I'm sure we're going to be hearing about this probably just about every single week for months. But onwards and upwards, hopefully not downwards. Story number 2. This comes from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg. Sony shuts down video game studio Bluepoint. Sony Group Corp is shutting down Bluepoint Games, the PlayStation subsidiary responsible for developing remakes of video games such as Demon's Souls and Shadow of the Colossus. Roughly 70 employees will lose their jobs amid the studio closure, a PlayStation spokesman said, writing in a statement that the decision was made following a recent business review. Bluepoint will officially shutter next month. Bluepoint Games is an incredibly talented team, and their technical expertise has delivered exceptional experiences for the PlayStation community, the spokesperson said. We thank them for their passion, creativity, and craftsmanship. Founded in 2006, the Austin-based, I did not know that, studio was known for developing high-end remakes of older games, such as Uncharted and Shadow of the Colossus for modern platforms. Sony acquired Bluepoint in 2021, shortly after the successful remake of Demon's Souls for PlayStation 5, and tasked it with co-developing 2022's God of War Ragnarok. Following that game, and I think this is what killed them, Bluepoint began working on a live service God of War game, Bloomberg previously reported. But it was canceled in January 2025. PlayStation said at that time it was working with Bluepoint to determine the studio's next project. And that was during the time, I believe, when Sony was doing their huge live service push where we got Concord, where we got, well, we haven't got Fair Games. Nothing's been known. Fair Games is probably going to be dead, but Fair Games, and it was that whole State of Play that was basically just live service stuff. And I think it was around that time when Bluepoint started working on this. And I hate to see this because I thought Bluepoint was one of the most talented studios out there right now. What they did with Demon's Souls is just, it's gorgeous. And you know, so what if they're known as the people, if they're not like, you know, making their own things and they're just redoing old things? That's a big job, and they did incredible. But we also have a little more of this from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. Herman Holst said the decision was the result of an increasingly challenging industry environment in a note to staff on Thursday. It's a shocking end for a studio that Holst himself admits delivered exceptional experiences for the PlayStation community and comes despite a recent jump in profits for Sony's gaming division. I wanted to share an update from the studio business. As I mentioned in the December Town Hall, 2025 had some strong highlights within PlayStation Studios. Ghost of Yotei launched a critical and commercial success. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach further showcased our commitment to narrative excellence, and Helldivers 2 and MLB The Show continue to drive ongoing player engagement and revenue. At the same time, we're operating in an increasingly challenging industry environment. Rising development costs, slowed industry growth, changing player behavior, and broader economic headwinds are making it harder to build games sustainably. To navigate this reality, we need to continue adapting and evolving. We've taken a closer look at our business to ensure we're delivering today while still well positioned for the future. As a result, we will be closing Bluepoint Games in March. This decision was not made lightly. Bluepoint is an incredibly talented team, and their technical expertise has delivered exceptional experiences for the PlayStation community. I want to thank everyone at Bluepoint for their creativity, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. Where possible, we will work to find opportunities for some impacted employees within our global network of studios. While I know this is hard to hear, I'm confident in the direction we're headed. Creativity, innovation, and building unforgettable experiences for players remains at the heart of PlayStation Studios. We have a robust roadmap for fiscal year 2026, with much to look forward to in the months ahead. Thank you for your hard work and continued support. Sony recently posted impressive profits. While overall sales across the gaming division were down year over year, profits for PlayStation last quarter rose 19%. It even revised its forecast for the current quarter upwards. Bluepoint is the third recently acquired game studio Sony has shuttered in less than 2 years. It always just is sort of like the little extra sting in the wound when they close it and they go, but my gosh, our profits are up. Come on. One positive thing, one hopeful thing about this, how about that, is CI Games, the studio behind Lords of the Fallen and the upcoming Lords of the Fallen 2, which I've played a little bit of Lords of the Fallen. Really good. Really, really fun game. Said on X that they would love to hire anyone from Bluepoint because they love their work on Demon's Souls. So I think that's a really positive, uplifting thing when another studio like that reaches out when there's bad news like this. So I hope that maybe they can go over there. And this just stinks. It just stinks. What doesn't stink, though, is story number 3. Once again, this is just like the ongoing game that's here every week. Highguard. I thought it was going to die because the website was down. Their Discord, I think it linked to some Australian Discord server, which was sort of weird. But they just suddenly came out with a patch saying, hey, here's a new base and some new raid tool coming this week. They said this patch is purely content focused with a brand new base and a powerful new raid tool added to the game along with new offerings in the store. We're also working on our next patch, which we aim to bring a new game mode focused on the raid experience as well as some balance adjustments to weapons, among other things. Now, I fully imagine this content is part of the 1 year of content they had already made before the game was launched. So I'm curious to see, are they going to be able to make it a whole year releasing this stuff? Or will it close beforehand? Hopefully it'll turn around for them. I don't want it to, I don't want it to fail. I'm sort of shooting myself in the foot, I think, because I played a few matches, my first matches of the 5v5 the other day. And you know what? I liked it. I really liked it, actually. And it's just not going to end well because I'm going to end up liking this game more than I thought I would, and they're going to close it. But not yet. And that's something we can celebrate in the midst of all this bad news. In other news, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green are coming to the Nintendo Switch eShop for $20 a piece, and they seem to have leaked a week early because they're going to release as soon as the Pokemon Presents on the February 27th ends. So I highly doubt they actually meant for it to get out here because people were saying that they got press emails at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Whoopsies. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is getting a Nintendo Switch 2 edition with 60 FPS and 4K resolution. This is a small story I read, but I found it interesting. This comes from this guy. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. I'm going to butcher it. From Blue Sky, despite several key updates for Payday 3, which people did not like as much as Payday 2, in Q4 of 2025, the game could not generate more revenue than Payday 2. For the year 2025, revenue for Payday 2 was up 20% year on year, while Payday 3 revenue declined 8% year on year. Payday 3 was even one of the free PlayStation Plus games in 2025. I just find that fascinating. Payday 2 is 13 years old, and it's making more money than the game that came out, maybe 2 years ago now. And lastly, Arc Raiders Shrouded Sky is coming next week. We get Hurricanes, boys. We get Hurricanes, and I am so excited. Arc Raiders continues to be one of my most favorite things, and I love it. And they even teased a new Arc robot to fight. I can't wait to get blown around and shot by something I never even saw. But that is all the news for today. I really hope next week is a little more cheerful. Xbox is out here making decisions. Sony is making decisions, and Nintendo's just making money. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.